Disney has just given us a massive look at the future of Walt Disney World at D23 Horizons 2026. And honestly, there is so much to talk about. From a brand new Yeti for Expedition Everest to a massive new Villains Land, cars coming to Magic Kingdom, Monsters Inc. at Hollywood Studios, major changes coming to Epcot, and even the return of Dreamfinder and Figment. Disney World is about to look very different. So in this video, I'm going to go through all of the major Walt Disney World announcements from the Horizons D23, park by park, and talk about what we actually know about each one. Let's start with probably the announcement that surprised me the most. Let's start at Disney's Animal Kingdom, because Disney finally did something that I honestly wasn't sure would ever happen. They're fixing the Yeti on Expedition Everest. And this isn't just Disney saying that they might eventually repair the existing animatronic. The big news is that Disney is planning a new Yeti animatronic for the attraction. And if you've ridden Expedition Everest before, you'll know why this is such a big deal. When the ride originally opened in 2006, the Yeti was supposed to be one of the most impressive audio animatronics Disney had ever created. It was absolutely enormous, and it was designed to move incredibly quickly as the train passed underneath it. But unfortunately, the Yeti hasn't moved properly for years. Instead, we've had what fans have called the Disco Yeti, with lighting effects making it look like the Yeti is moving. And honestly, that's become part of the ride's history at this point. But now Disney is actually going back in and giving us a new version. This could completely transform the finale of Expedition Everest. Imagine coming around that final corner, seeing the broken track, and then suddenly having this huge Yeti actually move towards the train again. That's the version of Everest that a lot of people who rode it when it first opened remember. And I think it's particularly interesting that Disney is doing this now, because Animal Kingdom is already undergoing one of its biggest transformations ever. Because alongside the Yeti announcement, we're also getting Tropical Americas. This is replacing the old Dinoland USA area and is currently scheduled to open in 2027. And we're going to get two major attractions. The first is an Indiana Jones attraction, taking guests into an ancient Maya temple. The attraction is called Indiana Jones and the Myth of the Jade Serpent, and Disney has even revealed that it will feature an audio animatronic version of Indiana Jones. So this isn't just going to be a simple retheme. You're actually going to be going into a huge archaeological adventure with Indy. Then you've got the Encanto attraction. This one follows Antonio after he receives his magical ability to communicate with animals, and guests will travel through the Casita Madrigal and experience that world. And there's also going to be a new animal carousel featuring carved animals inspired by Disney stories. So Tropical Americas isn't just replacing Dinoland with one ride. You're basically getting an entirely new land with two major attractions, a family attraction, and a completely new environment. Now, let's move over to Magic Kingdom, because this is where things get really interesting. Disney has given us much more information about the new Villains Land, and I think this could become one of the most visually impressive areas Disney has ever built. The land will be located beyond Big Thunder Mountain and would be filled with Disney villains. But what I'm most interested in are the two attractions. The first is a Maleficent roller coaster. Disney has shown that this coaster will take guests into a dark and twisted version of Maleficent's world, including the thorny landscape surrounding her castle. And Imagineers have teased some pretty ambitious technical elements for this attraction. So this isn't just going to be a Maleficent slapped onto a roller coaster. It looks like they're actually trying to make the coaster itself part of the story. Then there's the attraction I'm probably even more curious about, the Magic Mirror Dark Ride. This attraction will take guests into the world of Disney villains through the magic mirror, with characters including villains such as the Evil Queen, Cruella de Vil, Jafar, and Dr. Facilla. And I absolutely love this idea because Magic Kingdom doesn't really have a traditional villain-focused dark ride. So you could potentially have something incredibly atmospheric, dark, and weird sitting right next to the more traditional fairy tale attractions. Disney is also planning themed restaurants and shops within the land. From what we've seen so far, they're going for a very dark, twisted aesthetic rather than trying to make this feel like another brightly coloured Fantasyland expansion. And then, almost as if one massive Magic Kingdom expansion wasn't enough, Cars is coming to Magic Kingdom. This will be part of a new area called Piston Peak, replacing the current Frontierland area around Tom Sawyer Island. And we're getting 2 attractions. The first is Cars Ridge Run Rally. This is going to be a much more adventurous Cars attraction, taking guests away from Radiator Springs and into the wilderness around Piston Peak. Rather than being at another traditional family dark ride, Disney is describing this as an off-road rally experience. And then you've got Miss Fritter's Daredevil Spin-Along. This is the more family-friendly attraction, giving younger guests something to ride while still fitting into the Cars theme. I think this is actually a really smart addition for Magic Kingdom because Cars is obviously incredibly popular with families, but these attractions don't have to simply copy Cars Land at Disneyland. Piston Peak gives Disney the opportunity to create something that feels different, and if they get the landscape and rock work right, this could completely change the look of that part of Magic Kingdom. Now, let's go over to Hollywood Studios, and this might be the project I'm personally most excited about, Monstropolis. Now, this isn't technically a brand new announcement. Disney first announced the Monster Inc. land previously, but Horizons has given us a much clearer picture of what we're actually getting. The land is set after the events of the original Monsters Inc. Humans are now being welcomed into Monstropolis for the first time during an event called Human Day, which stands for Humans Understands Monsters Are Nice. And honestly, I think that's a really clever way of explaining why we're suddenly walking around Monstropolis. The main attraction is obviously the Monsters Inc. Door Vault Coaster. This is going to be Disney's first suspended coaster, and you're essentially going to be riding on one of those doors from the movie as you race through the door vault. And the really cool thing is that the ride system itself is part of the story. You're not just sitting in a normal coaster train. You're supposed to feel like you're actually being carried through the factory on one of those doors. Then, you've got the Globe Theatre, which will feature a new Monsters Inc. stage show. And I think this is important because Disney isn't just building a land around one major attraction. You've got the coaster, the theatre show, dining, shopping, and character experiences. And then, there's probably the restaurant I'm most excited about, Harry Houston's. This is a sushi restaurant based directly on the restaurant from the original Monsters Inc. movie, and Disney has actually been building the restaurant's exterior to match the film, including the distinctive chopstick detail above the entrance. The name is also a tribute to legendary stop-motion effects artist Ray Harryhausen, who inspired the restaurant's name in the movie. So, this could be one of those Disney restaurants where even the dining experience becomes part of the theming. Now, let's talk about Epcot. And finally, Disney is giving Spaceship Earth some attention. Disney hasn't revealed every single detail yet, but the major change is that the attraction is being reworked around the idea of human connection. And this is really interesting because Spaceship Earth has traditionally taken us through the development of human communication. So instead of simply focusing on how humans learn to communicate, Disney wants to broaden that story into how technology and communication have helped connect people around the world. And I think this could be a really good update if Disney gets the balance right, because Spaceship Earth is one of those attractions where I don't think most people want them to completely rip everything out. The basic journey through human history is iconic, so I'm hoping this is more of a thoughtful modernization rather than Disney completely changing what makes the attraction special. And then Disney dropped another massive Epcot announcement. Dreamfinder is coming back, and yes, Figment is coming with him. For anyone who doesn't know, Dreamfinder and Figment were the original faces of Journey into Imagination when the attraction opened in 1983. Dreamfinder was the inventor and storyteller, while Figment was his little purple dragon companion. Dreamfinder disappeared from the attraction years ago, while Figment eventually returned in the current version. But now Disney is bringing both of them back, and I think this might have been one of the biggest fan service announcements of the entire presentation, because Figment has basically become an unofficial mascot of Epcot. He's everywhere. Merchandise, events, meet and greets, and fans have been asking Disney for years to bring back the original spirit of Journey into the Imagination. We don't yet know exactly how extensive the new attraction will be, but the fact that Disney is bringing Dreamfinder back at all is huge. And I'm really hoping they use this opportunity to make Journey into Imagination feel like a proper celebration of imagination again. So after looking at everything Disney announced and revealed at Horizons, I think the biggest thing to take away is just how much Walt Disney World is changing. And what's interesting is that all 4 parks are getting something. Magic Kingdom is getting Villains Land and Piston Peak, Animal Kingdom is getting Tropical Americas, Indiana Jones and Kanto, the Animal Carousel, and now a new Yeti for Expedition Everest. Hollywood Studios is getting Monstropolis with one of Disney's most ambitious new coaster concepts, and Epcot is getting updates to Spaceship Earth and Journey into the Imagination, including the return of Dreamfinder and Figment. And that's not even mentioning all of the other projects Disney already has underway across Walt Disney World. Personally, I'm really excited to see what Disney does with Villains Land and the Monsters Inc. coaster. But I think the announcement I'm happiest about is probably Dreamfinder returning, because Disney can build massive new attractions, but bringing back something that people generally loved decades ago can be just as exciting. And if Disney manages to combine that nostalgia with modern technology and new storytelling, we could be looking at a really special version of Journey into the Imagination. So now I want to know, which of these new Disney World attractions are you most excited for? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure you subscribe, because there is a lot more Disney and Universal Orlando content coming to CD Orlando Parks.